What is going on YouTube and Diablo fans? My name is Andreas, and as always, welcome back to Mana and Motherboards. Today we are going to be taking a look at what is quite a controversial topic, and I think quite an interesting topic, and that is what is the best in slot weapon for the Echoing Strike Warlock. So obviously the Echoing Strike Warlock has been a very powerful character in the new meta and the new Reign of the Warlock expansion, and we have a lot of options as an Echoing Strike Warlock as to what we can wield as our main hand weapon. So many people will tell you a Ariox Needle, an Eth Ariox Needle is the highest damage weapon, or that Fortitude is the best weapon, or a Eth Doom is the best weapon, possibly even a Tomb Reaver. There are so many options that you have as an Echoing Strike Warlock at your disposal when it comes to your best in slot weapon. That also goes in hand with the fact that as an Echoing Strike Warlock, or even just a Warlock in general, you can wield two-handed weapons in one hand. So what we are going to do is build a rune word that I believe to be the best weapon for an Echoing Strike Warlock, and this is for all content, all players 1 to 8, everything goes here. And one of the reasons why you might have seen us now socketing this Archon staff is the staff weapons within Diablo 2 have a very good average damage. So if you have a look at, let's say, my Ethereal Colossus Vulge Insight weapon here, this weapon has 85 to 758 damage in its current roll. And if we have a look at the staff, for instance, there's 124 to 148 damage. And the average damage that this staff does equals, sometimes even betters, the average damage of a Insight Colossus Vulge. So your average damage you're outputting between these two weapons is very similar, despite the fact that their max values differ so greatly. So staves are a very slept on and very powerful weapon base in Diablo 2 for specific melee builds, or melee builds, sorry, melee, I mix up the words sometimes. Druids can use staves very effectively, the Echoing Strike Warlock can use staves very effectively, and it is just a often slept on base for these kinds of weapon types. So these are the runes that are going into our rune word weapon that we are making now. And some of you might already know what that is, some of the sort of more knowledgeable players or guys who are in the know in the current meta. So we are going to put in the most expensive rune first, that is our Zod rune. Oh, I can't actually click on it there, I'm going to have to make some space here quickly. Let's put this down over here. So, Zod rune first. Then we have our Ist rune. Then our Lem rune. Then our Lam rune. Our Io rune, which I always mistake for Low rune. And then our Nef rune. There we have it. Obsession. Now this is going to be our best in slot weapon for the Echoing Strike Warlock. So in terms of the roll, what did we get? So if we have a look there, our all resistance is 67, regen mana 29, increase maximum life 18, and yeah, those are the variables that we rolled. So if we have a look here quickly, I just want to show you on the Chronicle, if we go to Rune Words and search for Obsession, so we can roll 15 to 25 max life. We rolled 18, so that's sort of in the middle, that's alright. Regen mana, we rolled 29 out of 30, so that's 15 to 30. and we rolled 29, which is really cool. And for all resist, we rolled 67. So overall, we have a little higher than average roll for the obsession here. So if we quickly have a look, obviously I have those two skillers, or the one skiller and the other charms that are in here. I'll just actually put that there and this skiller here. If we have a look here at our base damage, we have 31k with our Colossus Vulge, and if we put on Obsession, we have 23k. So that drops down by, you know, maybe about 30%, maybe a little bit less than that, high 20 odd percent or so in raw output of damage. But how we make up for that difference is the stats that Obsession provide us. So if we look here, we have 4 to all skills where our Insight gives no plus skills, and for the Echoing Strike Warlock, we have so many 1-point wonders. If we have a look here in the demon skill tree, we have all of these are basically 1-point wonders. Yes, we put a bit more into demonic mastery. For Aldrich, these are 1-point wonders. We get some extra oomph out of that now with Obsession. Lethargy is also another 1-point wonder. So those extra skills that we gain through Obsession are very useful also for our teleport from Enigma. Now, moving on from the all skills, the 65% faster cast rate is greatly more substantial than the 35 we get on this Insight, or even the 25 that we get on Fortitude, or anything like that. And that faster cast rate allows us to now hit that 125 breakpoint, which now means we've hit the fastest breakpoint for the Warlock. And that is a huge plus, both defensively with teleport and your other skills, as well as offensively with teleporting around, getting around the map quicker, and casting off your echoing strikes faster. So although we lost that raw damage, as you can see here, from Insight to Obsession, we gain that faster breakpoint, which will often feel smoother and kill just about as quickly as if we had this Insight. Now, that faster cast rate is an absolutely huge thing. We only have cast rate on our shield, on our spirit, it's not even a perfect spirit, and on our arachnid mesh belt and our sling ring. So we only need 3 slots of faster cast rate plus Obsession. We don't need a 220 helm, we don't need a 220 amulet, we don't need 2 rings, we don't need gloves with that faster cast rate. So now we can put in laying of hands for that 350% extra damage to demons, which is absolutely huge. Or we could even put a soul drainers in there or something similar, you know, 7% mana steal, 7% life steal. There are so many options now for our gloves, there's options for our rings, there's options for our boots. I'm actually going to swap in a set of Gore Riders now because we lost that critical strike from Insight. So now I can instead gain some more critical strike from our boots, and because we have that extra resistance on here, it allows us to open up more slots. Now our resistances are basically maxed, and in some cases, I'm sure 220, 204, they are over capped. So our resistances are doing extremely well with this Obsession weapon now. Also with our faster hit recovery, coupled with Spirit, or if you're using an Azdul Mephistos, that new book, you will have the 3rd fastest breakpoint for your faster hit recovery. So I'm at 120, you only need I think about 87 or 89 to hit that breakpoint. So between your 2 items, you hit that faster hit recovery breakpoint. Now, these 4 top stats on Obsession, I mean, the 24% chance to cast a level 10 weaken when struck is also extremely powerful, but the all skills, the faster cast rate and the faster hit recovery are such stellar stats to have on your main hand weapon for this build. Plus the increase to life is just a fantastic quality of life before even buffing up. So if we quickly consume and buff up our sort of pre-buffs here, then you will see that my life now goes about 300 extra life than what it was with, or 200 odd, 250 or so, than it was with that Inside Colossus Vault. So that is a massive increase to life. We regenerate mana faster, and like I mentioned, that all res is just absolutely huge to open up slots on the rest of our gear where we don't need to pile on res as much as we used to. So for instance, now I had this 15 all res Grand Charm. I can now instead run some extra magic finding charms or anything of that sort. I'm going to give insight to my Merc, which is also an upgrade over the obedience that I had, because we do want that might aura, not the might aura, that meditation aura as well. So we'll put our Geeds back on here, we'll put our charms back on here, and then I can run some 7MF or 6MF, whatever other small charms I have here, to then fill out my inventory as well. So the last stat on Obsession that's absolutely fantastic is the Magic Find and Gold Find, which is also just a quality of life bonus. So if we have a look here, my Magic Find is currently sitting on, where are we? 252, which I think anywhere between 200 and 300 Magic Find is the sweet spot for a character that can still quickly breeze through content and, you know, do a lot of damage. I think that 200 to 300 mark is great. Sitting at 252 is absolutely fantastic, and chucking on a few other small charms, we can definitely make that closer to 300, which is also fantastic. So just chucking in a couple small charms that I have lying around here. There's another 7MF one. There we go. There we should have now 273, something like that. Yeah, 273 Magic Find. So Echoing Strike as a build is broken at the moment. We know this. And what is the one thing that Echoing Strike doesn't need any more of? That is damage. So there was even that video by Mr. Llama SC who put on Wirt's leg on a naked Echoing Strike Barbarian Warlock, and he could do hull content with just that Wirt's leg weapon, and that is like it's a piece of trash. It doesn't do anything, and you can do hull content on a unequipped Warlock with Wirt's leg. So the one thing that this build and this skill Echoing Strike definitely doesn't need is extra damage, which allows you to then instead use a more utility-based weapon. And Obsession, with the extra skills, cast rate, the hit recovery, the life, the resistance, the Magic Find, all of that stuff is extra utility for your character. And I think for a character that's doing PVM, so anything, whether it's content that's P1, which this absolutely slaps, and personally I play more P1 than anything else, I think that Obsession is the best in slot weapon for an Echoing Strike Warlock. And as you can see, I'm absolutely shredding, just one-shotting everything, and the rate that we are casting out. And if we just look at the teleport speed here, it is so fast. I mean, my ping, my latency, my ping here in South Africa playing on the European servers is not fantastic, so you'll see a bit of jerkiness, but you can teleport around so quickly. Your faster hit recovery is so fantastic that teleporting into the middle of mobs doesn't even matter. And just the smoothness of play at that 125 breakpoint is just so great. You feel so tanky with this weapon equipped. And I think as a all-rounder this weapon can't be beat. Yes, if you are using an F Fortitude Thunder Maul, you're going to be outputting a little bit more damage. There is some use from that chilling armor that you can cast, but overall I think Obsession has more utility going for it and can kill things just as quickly. Maybe on players 8 there will be a slight discrepancy on kill speed, but it is going to be so minor, and that is again because of how broken Echoing Strike is currently on the Warlock. I think at least for the current state of the game and the current state of the Warlock in this meta, I don't think that the other weapons pose as much of a threat to Obsession in terms of its ranking and where it stands, but if they nerf and sort of balance Echoing Strike a bit further, I think then maybe Fortitude would become best in slot. And I think it's a close second to Obsession and was my other option instead of Obsession, but overall in the current state of things, Obsession definitely has won over for me. And if we even look at just the cost of Obsession and what you get for it, I think it's slightly cheaper just because of the base price being an Archon Staff and not an Ethereal Thunder Maul, what people would prefer to put their Fortitude in. I think it comes out a little bit cheaper, and again I think you're getting more bang for your buck and more value when going for Obsession. And just doing this little chaos run whilst we have been chatting here, it's such a smooth, such a great gameplay. I can't express it enough. You really need to try this breakpoint to feel how great it is, and just having all that tankiness on this build is just, it's just next level. It's so fantastic. I don't know why it seems Diablo is bugged here. All the seals are open. Oh, Lord Desace is not dead. Anyway, this is just really a can't be beat. Obsession, maybe it goes against the grain and what everyone else is saying. I have to tell you that Obsession is, I mean, look at Diablo there. He goes down so absolutely quickly. There's no competition. Obsession is the way to go. If you have any doubt or any reservations about what weapon you wanted to go with your Echoing Strike Warlock, definitely consider Obsession. I think that as your overall weapon for all sorts of content, everything that you want to do, Obsession just delivers. And some people are obsessed with on-sheet damage and what your paper damage is, and if you just ignore that and look at what's actually the best in terms of value and what you are gaining on your character, this weapon opens up so much choice for your boot slots, for your glove slots, for your rings, for your helm, not needing to have 220 amulets and 220 circlets, all of those super high-end expensive gear slots, and being able to use a Shaco to have that great magic find and that overall utility. Obsession just really provides this character with so much. And another great little point that I have to add in with Obsession is that if you're going for a Miasma Chaos build, Obsession alongside Void, the other new Ruin Word using a Zod, is probably also best in slot, or close to best in slot at least, for many of the reasons I've mentioned here, for the Miasma Chaos build as well. And that just allows you so much versatility with choosing this Ruin Word. You have a best in slot weapon for both Miasma and Echoing Strike, your Abyss Warlock, and it's just fantastic. I don't think I can say any more on the topic. I am very stoked to have bought this weapon with you today, and I hope you are enjoying the content so far. I am thoroughly enjoying this season and having such a great time, and I hope that you guys are as well, and I really appreciate all of the support on the channel so far. It is really greatly appreciated, and I am super stoked for how things are going, and I'm super stoked to push out more content for you. So with that being said, any further likes, views, shares, and subs on the channel are greatly appreciated. Like I mentioned before, I would also like to start streaming soon, and we will catch you again soon for some more Mana and Motherboards. Go well, cheers.